Hi. Today I will recap science fiction movie called Dune. Don't forget to subscribe to channel and make like for video. The movie starts on the planet Arrakis, which is famous for its spice. The Harkonnen take control of the planet and become richer than the Emperor himself by selling the spice. They defeat the fighters of Arrakis using their advanced weapons, planes, and bombs, forcing them to hide in caves in the desert. The Emperor tells the Harkonnen to leave, and they do. On the planet Caladan, Paul has breakfast with his mother Jessica, who tells him to dress fancy for the Emperor's envoy. He studies Arrakis, its tough life in sandstorms, the Freeman tribes, the desert, the Sandworms, and the blue eyes caused by the spice. Later, he meets the envoy with his parents and agrees to take control of Arrakis. Paul asks Duncan if he is going with the exploration team, and Duncan says yes. Paul asks to go with them, but Duncan refuses. He then asks his father, who also refuses and tells him that his hobby of bullfighting killed his grandfather. Paul trains with Gurney, who warns him that he hasn't met the Harkonnen yet, who are monsters living on the planet GD Prime. The captain confronts the Baron and tells him that their wealth is being transferred to the Atreides after 80 years of work. He is angry and upset about it. The Baron warns him that the Emperor is a dangerous and jealous man. Jessica wakes Paul up and takes him to see the Reverend Mother, who wants to see his dreams. The royal doctor, warns him to be careful. The security member asks Jessica to leave, and Paul is left alone with the Reverend Mother. The Reverend Mother makes Paul put his hands inside a box with a poison needle, warning him not to remove his hands or he will be poisoned. The box moves his hands, but he passes the test and doesn't remove them. The next day, Paul, his mother, and his father arrive on Arrakis. They activate their shields and disembark from the ship. Paul and Jessica take a flying vehicle to the city where they will live, which is surrounded by screens to protect them from the heat and giant worms. Jessica gifts a knife to a handmaiden, revealing that she knows she is a freeman and that she and her son are the awaited saviors. Paul warns a worker not to stay in the sun's rays and finds a listening device in a room with pictures of sandworms. The king orders a full inspection and discovers spies within the walls. The Bene Gesserit mother goes to GD Prime and tells the Baron not to kill Jessica and her son, who are from their tribe. The Baron agrees but plans to throw them into the desert to be eaten by worms. Duncan arrives and gives information to Paul and the guards. Stilgar disrespects the king's authority, but Duncan explains that it's a freeman custom. Stilgar asks them to take only what they need from the spice and not approach freeman tribes. They ride a vehicle to the harvesting area and encounter a worm approaching the machine. The king decides to save the workers and lands the vehicle, but Paul is engulfed by the spice. Gurney rescues Paul and brings him back. The king screams at him for being careless, and Kynes warns him about the dangers of the desert. The doctor examines Paul and leaves. Paul tells Jessica about his dream where he was stabbed by a girl who took him to a mountain and kissed him. Meanwhile, the Emperor's army is preparing and performing strange rituals. So, Jessica wipes away her tears and goes into the king's chamber, telling him she's got a secret to confess. The king's like, "I already know, mate. I've been distracted ever since Paul was offered to the revered mother and asked to be protected not as a mother to her child, but as a Bene Gesserit." Jessica tries to reassure him, but he's not having it. She gives Paul some medicine, which turns out to be a vitamin, and he drinks it. Suddenly, The guards outside are attacked with paralyzing arrows, and chaos ensues. The king tries to call for help, but no one's answering. He finds a servant stabbed and gets hit with an arrow that paralyzes him too. The doctor shows up, apologizes for his betrayal, and gives the king some teeth that he can use to kill the Baron with. The Atreides soldiers try to fight back, but they're outnumbered and eventually killed or taken as war prisoners. Duncan manages to escape on a plane despite the Emperor's soldiers trying to stop him. Jessica and Paul are captured and taken on a plane. Jessica's voice is sealed because she's a Bene Gesserit, and they insult her until Paul gets fed up and yells at Em to shut up. He tries to control them with his voice but fails at first, but he succeeds on the second try. Jessica ends up controlling them with her voice and makes them kill each other. Then she drops the plane, and she and Paul escape, seeing the city in ruins from afar. Meanwhile, the king's sitting in front of the Baron, who's chowing down on his meal. The doctor comes in and tells the Baron he's done everything they asked, and now it's time to release his wife. But the Baron kills the doctor and approaches the king. The king uses the teeth he got from the doctor to blow poison in the Baron's face, poisoning everyone in the room. Later, Paul finds a bag left by the doctor on the plane, containing his dad's mineral and a ring, and realizes his father's dead. Duncan takes him to Kynes, who explains that the Emperor sent Em there to surround and kill Em. Paul and Jessica live in a tent filled with spices, and Paul has a dream about the same girl he's been dreaming about. She tells him about a war spreading throughout the world, and he gets all worked up, blaming his mother for everything. He cries, puts on his dad's ring, and he and his mother leave the tent. Yo, a frickin' plane flies overhead and they see Duncan jumping out it and running towards Em, giving Em a big ol' hug. He tells Em that the king is dead, so Duncan bows and kisses Paul's hand, pledging loyalty to him. They all hop on the plane, and Kynes takes Em to some old trading station. Paul tries to get Kynes to help Em overthrow the king since he ain't got no heirs, but she shuts that down. While they're there, some of the Emperor's soldiers show up and Duncan fights him off, but he takes a few stabs and dies. Paul and Jessica dip with Kynes until they get to a crossroads. Kynes tells them to head to Siege Tabor where there's a plane waiting for him. Paul asks her to come, but she says there's only room for two. They go their separate ways, and Paul and Jessica head to the plane with the Emperor's plane following Em. Paul takes Em into a sandstorm to lose Em. Kynes uses some device to call a sandworm, but she gets stabbed before it shows up. The worm ends up swallowing the soldier's whole. At the same time, the Baron and his followers show up and are still kicking. Paul manages to lose the Emperor's plane in the sandstorm, but their plane crashes cause the wings get wrecked. Paul and his mom change into regular clothes and go towards a mountain, trying to find the Freemen. They think they're on a nearby mountain, but there's a big old stretch of sand filled with sandworms between them. Paul teaches his mom how to walk on sand without making noise to avoid attracting the sandworms. But they end up in a wet sand area where the worms can hear him, and a worm pops up right in front of them. The Freemen, who've been watching them, decide to take Paul but kill Jessica to take the water in her body. Stilgar's not down with killing Jessica though, cause she's a reverend mother and not just anyone can kill her. James, one of the Freemen, challenges Paul to a fight to the death, but Stilgar's like nah. Chani shows up and gives Paul a crysknife, which is some sacred knife. She tells him that if he dies with honor, he'll die as a human. They start fighting, and Paul takes some hits but manages to get the knife on James' neck and refuses to kill him. This happens a few times until Paul finally kills James. They carry his body and head towards the Freeman tribe. And so, dear viewers, the movie ends. Don't forget to press the like button and subscribe to the channel to support us and so we can continue to provide more content. See you later.